the bear trap and chain, but there's no, Maokai W or Malzahar ultimate to kind of be the big go sign. So it's really up to him to be the primary responsibility of starting team fights.
I mean, there is a Kled.
He's got a bear trap.
He has an ultimate
Okay.
called Charge. Like, it's actually all caps with multiple A's.
I mean in the lane phase.
Okay.
But thank you for the clarification.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, we'll certainly keep an eye on that laning phase, and if he does find an opportunity to make anything happen, as we have loaded onto the Rift for game number 2 between Game Talents and WE.
The concern for Game Talents is that if you look at Team WE's composition, they've got the push priority in Maokai, although Gimgun was able to deal with that quite well last game in a couple of instances, as well as this Ashe and Zyra, or Ashe and Misfortune.
Holy cow, that damage.
So the reason why Mystic and Ben are so far forward in the lane is because they're looking for Zyra setting up her plans, and they know that they can punish that, which you can already see that they heavily did with Soulmate.
Yeah, they stopped the recall. If you're back in base by 1 minute and 8 seconds, you can make it back to lane before the minions clash, but that is Soulmate a few seconds late.
And then this also 100% reveals that Xiaoyu is starting the top side of the map, which should be assumed anyway because Zyra should be down in the lane setting up her plans anyway.
And with that, Zyra's on her way down there. You can see Ben actually stayed to get the Make It Rain and deny that recall. Taking a look at summoners, looks like it's fairly standard. Xiaoyu with the Courage of the Colossus, easily procced with the press of one button. Going to be given a leash now by Gimgun as Kandi gets the same on the top side.
So which lane does Xiaoyu prioritize first? Does he just passively farm it out into level 6? Does he try for something cheeky to get Game Talents rolling again? They showcase that they can play the early game quite well if they get any sort of lead or advantage, particularly pivoting around Republic. And that's how Misfortune and Ashe work out.
Shoving the lane out very quickly.
Even if you're across from Zyra and Caitlyn. Of course, big thing though, and big part of the success is that they did pop those early plants so Zyra can get the immediate push level 1.
Yeah, you can see the Warlords healing up Mystic as best he can as Soulmate pops his first potion, level 2, quickly approaching.
Yeah, and speaking of potions, just to point out again that both AD carries went for the longsword pots. Again, it's pretty much stock standard these days, but is really come to, what's the word I'm looking for? It showed up because you have these caster supports as well as people like Ashe. Came into existence? I don't know, I can't speak tonight.
Kandi is going to be able to secure the Scuttle Crab despite the proximity of Xiaoyu. Flash was actually just off of cooldown for Xiaoyu, so Kandi is able to snag that for himself. As Ben continues to help shove the wave for Mystic as they are looking for yet another advantage. Volley gets some damage onto Shubin.
Getting a lot of attention down in this bottom lane.
Oh yeah.
It has eked out a slight CS advantage for Mystic, but 3 CS isn't anything to write home about. Meanwhile, I want to see top lane because pots are being repeatedly popped up there.
Yeah, 957 taking the Doran's Ring and a single potion to Gimgun's Doran's Blade and 1 potion.
So potion advantage means that 957 can trade health for CS if needed be and sit and sustain longer into the lane. Kha'Zix is actually back on this top side of the map. He is double buffed up and the lane is relatively neutral, although he's looking mid.
Yeah, he's sneaking forward. If Republic goes for the distortion, you know Kandi's going to go in. Xie's looking tasty. And that's the Shadow Roar procced. And what?
He got him with the Ignite.
They actually traded. First Blood is actually going over to Republic.
The Ignite takes down, kills the Kassadin. Best case scenario there for Republic. That said, Xie should be able to teleport, and we'll see if he's able to manipulate the wave earlier, or if it ekes him out any sort of advantage. But everyone has the flashes.
Yep. That's Ignite used. Teleport is going to get Xie back in lane a little bit faster, so he might get a bit of a push advantage. Kandi roams up top, is going to find Xiaoyu and immediately leap away as Skarl is dropped away. 957, Xiaoyu flashes and to pursue 957, but they make it under the turret.
And this is actually cool because it does bleed over from the mid lane. So the fact that Kandi...
Ooh, yeah.
The fact that Condi was spending his time looking for the gank on mid lane and not getting anything because it was a straight trade meant that he was late getting up to the top side, which allowed Xiaoyu to get up there and match him in the counter gank, forcing Nautilus's flash. So it doesn't seem like much, but that mid lane gank did impact the top lane.
Yeah, and the harass down here is just a constant hailstorm. Xiaoyu gonna clear out some of these smaller Krugs as they trade. I take some, you take some.
Checking in on itemization, should be noted that Republic went for early Negatron Cloak. We'll see if he completes that. Usually they would just sit on the component and then itemize into something else. So we've seen relatively early Abyssals in the LPL. You think back to Rookie on his Katarina, though it's a very different situation.
The volleys continue to land as Shubin is forced to use Piltover Peacemaker to try to get some harass to answer it, as WE are just controlling this bottom lane, and again, an enormous CS advantage is opening. The junglers are nowhere to be seen down here, as WE are just forcibly bullying game talents away.
And you have to kind of go back to the draft phase for game talents, the fact that it just seems so scattered. In their second rotation of bans, they banned both Ryze and Varus. They had the opportunity that if they put such a high priority, Kate Zyro, we are getting the push advantage. The misfortune comes through. They could have taken away the Ashe.
Oh, Mystic is taking a lot of damage from the Zyro plant, but is okay, amazingly.
But they let it go through, and now they're in this situation. And this is what Ashe is actually better at than any other AD carry, and it's punishing you when you're underneath the tower. The other one who comes to mind is Varus, but it's just easier to land Ashe's volley than the skill shot from the piercing arrow.
Oh, you can see Ben wants to make it rain, try to get the minions finished. Decides to back away, not going to take a chance with Xiaoyu right there.
Yeah, they're instead going to take the chance on the fact that they've got such a big gold lead just in passive CS and see if they can eke out an item advantage to exploit.
It's a full 300 gold resolving into boots and a control ward for Mystic.
Good news for Shubin, though, is he's not technically down on flat AD because he also has a longsword as well as the BF sword to match, so just barely scraping over the line.
As it is, the advantage is still in favor of WE as they find themselves 700 gold ahead despite the first blood of game talents.
A lot of it's been converted into the control wards and the bottom lane by a lot. I mean, like...
all of it.
So it's now a question of can those control wards be utilized for Condi to get into the lane. Now, he did just tick over into level 6. He's on the top side of the map right now, but he's on course to make a nice rotation bottom if he chooses.
Yeah, decided to go for the evolved Q first of Case Their Fear, as Xie, level 7, just trades it back with Republic, who lands 2 chains, and Xie, oh, that's Ignite used as well, plus the auto attack. Republic might follow this. Xiaoyu was waiting in the wings in the case that Xie would have looked for an outplay.
What a bizarre trade. Xie took a lot of unnecessary damage from creeps. And yeah, LeBlanc can no longer just kind of drop all of her burst damage. You know, it takes a little bit longer for the maximum damage to come out, but I think he was just kind of unexpected how much damage that Xie would take over time and then realize, I can kill that guy.
Yeah, blue buffs are traded to opposite sides of the map. Let's see if Republic is going to get this. Xiaoyu sets it up, and yeah, Republic has it while Condi has the other one.
Yep, and that's the big difference. See if he's able to abuse that at all. As now, Xiaoyu's trying to apply a little bit of pressure to ban Mystic.
Yeah, Ben gonna clear out that Zyra plant as Mystic catches these minions under turret. Still a solid 20 CS ahead, despite the potential pressure. As the arrow catches Shubin and they're gonna burst him down. He even takes a turret shot. Flash from Mystic Exhaust. He heals. Is it going to go first over? No, it's AD carry for AD carry. As Ben now turns onto Soulmate. He's got Flash, but Ben has Exhaust, and Soulmate walks it off.
But that is the best thing that you can hope for, the fact that the AD carry was able to trade back and pick up the kill. He did burn all of his summoners, but I think he got more than he gave there.
Xie gets some damage onto Republic, eats a chain, and jumps back in, forcing Republic to distort out. Condi waiting in the wings along with 957, forces the disengage from game talents.
Republic sensing that something was up. I want to quickly touch back onto bottom lane though. So Soulmate was actually level 5. Can you imagine if that was actually a 2v2 and Zyra had ultimate? It was a cute play from Mystic and Ben to try to catch them with the tower shot by clearing out the creeps with bullet time. But now that Zyra has ult flash, Mystic and Ben might actually be in a really unsafe spot in this lane. So kill pressure could go back to game talents here.
Yeah, they are trying to push this wave up a little bit as they continue to harass Shubin. Berserker Greaves finished for Mystic, where it is 2 daggers and boots for Shubin.
Such an efficient power spike. Upgraded boots, especially Berserker Greaves. Such a cost-efficient item.
Still not seeing anything too explosive in this match just yet, despite game number 1, the early explosive advantage for WE capitalizing on Kandi and Xie. This time, we're not seeing that.
It looks so different, though, when either team has tempo control. You know, when game talents are controlled, it's that very chaotic, explosive early game, you know, the running in, the trying to punish. Whereas when Team WE are in control, even though the scoreboard is 2-2, it's just much slower paced.
Kandi sneaks forward. How does that control word not see the other one?
It's on the very edge, and this is what happens when you put... It's why you want to kind of center your control word when you put it into the bush.
Yeah, tragically, that means that Kandi is spotted, as he did not see the control word. Will spot out Xiaoyu, and hopefully look to secure Scuttle Crab for himself. Doesn't want to give over that first Infernal Drake for free, as the top laners continue to harass back and forth with one another. Level 9 now picked up for 957 to match the level 9 of Gimgoon, both with teleport. And Kandi is...
sitting in vision.
Just resting his right hand a little bit. Yeah, there is a lot of wards for game talents. They're not going to give that up. You can see Republic and Xiaoyu just waiting.
Yeah, and it's the fact that there's 2 missing members, so Team WE not willing to show their hand without seeing everyone.
Xiaoyu actually catches up with the Vault Breaker. Flash over the wall to follow. Ignite is used as well. And Mystic goes down to Republic. Kandi, too slow.
And such a late response from Kandi. That said, Xie should have been cheating to the other side of the lane, knowing that Republic and Xiaoyu were somewhere between mid lane and Dragon Pit.
As it is, however, that is yet another kill to Republic, his second of the game. Definitely going to be liking the Snowballing LeBlanc. He actually goes for the Fiendish Codex next as, whoa, there's the Flash Stranglethorns you were talking about as Mystic very far forward. That's a late heal to try to keep himself up, but he dies to the Empowered Plants. Xie on respawn, teleports down, cleans up Soulmate. Gimgoon will follow up, looking for Ben, but 957 is zoning, while Xie cleans up Shubin in the back. A double kill for Xie. Gets him right back to square with Republic.
Yep, disaster for game talents. It feels like any time a fight breaks out and Cassidy picks up a double kill, you know, if this was last year, at this point you're saying, GG, you know, the Cassidon's fed. It's a little bit better now and a little bit more controllable, but it's like you said, all of the damage and all of the effort and all of the time that game talents had put in mid to getting this Cassidon down has been completely reset.
Teleport gets Xie right back in, and he will be able to catch this minion wave in the mid lane as well. Going to be very happy about that as Gimgoon heads back towards the top lane a little bit later than 957, so he will catch that minion wave. As blue buff is now going to be gifted over to Republic, his second of the game so far, and supports will find themselves intersecting at Tribush in the bottom. So, after that initial excitement, WE, 1,000 gold up, and looking to expand that.
Particularly through their CS. So they do have 2 CS leads in both their bottom and top lanes. And again, we were kind of talking about this before the excitement broke out. When Team WE have tempo, it just feels like such a slower game. And I have a inkling that we're going to continue to see kind of these long, drawn-out hiatuses in between cooldowns like the Ash Arrow. Although it is comforting to see that Mystic is so confident to throw it, even when he splits the wickets.
Yeah. Field goals it for you Americans.
There he goes.
Yeah, he actually catches Shubin that time. Flash gets Ben the kill with a single auto attack.
And
that time he hit the post.
And it's so punishing laning against Ashe. A lot of teams globally have been doing this where they'll actually cheat their support out of the lane early to get a sneaky EXP or solo EXP on Ashe. You just can't quite time when the level 5 to level 6 ticks over. But if Mystic is going to constantly been throwing that up on cooldown, it just forces game talents to be that much more aware about when Ashe's cooldown is up, because you don't have flash. You can't stand that far forward. You have to expect that you're going to throw it.
As it is, however, with Shubin dead, that's WE starting off with the first Drake of the game. Some assistance from Ben. Republic is there to watch it die as WE take the first Infernal Drake and net themselves a 2,000 gold lead.
And RNG is certainly on WE's side. They got triple Infernal in game number 1, and they're starting out on the right foot this time around as another Infernal looking back at them.
Oh, yeah. Definitely going to be pretty happy about that as 957 trades with Gimgoon even more. And after the recall, we do have Zeal now finished for Mystic. Let's see if he decides to go for the Essence Reaver first. Actually, or the Runeans. Perhaps Rapid Fire Cannon.
Have an inkling it's going to be Hurricane, simply just how it works with Ash's Q.
Stacking up the focus.
There's just so many arrows flying everywhere. You got volleys going off. It's just hectic, chaotic.
Condi and Ben were...
They're going to see it die, though.
Yeah, thinking that they were very sneaky. Bit of miscommunication on who was placing the ward there, but they have vision in that rush. An exceptional amount of vision.
Some would say 2020. Meanwhile, top, this could be a 2v1. Gimgoon is going to do it.
Yeah, Xiaoyu is there. Gimgoon's trying to bait it out. 957 is playing so patient. Xiaoyu's just going to go in. Catches him. 1, 2, 3. Gets the Vault Breaker Slam dunk. And 957 flashes, but Gimgoon follows up. Charge, despite being knocked off of Skarl, is hilarious.
But that gives Team WE the go-ahead to pull the trigger bottom lane. The Ashe Arrow is back up, and you can see Soulmate and Shubin so scared to approach.
Yeah, the minion wave is going to be cleared out as they start to race for this tier 1. And it looks like WE are just a little bit faster. 280 carries and a very strong jungler clear that out.
So again, Team WE splinter the power of their bottom lane over game talents. Find the first tower there. And last time this happened, they quickly reset the tower. That's what Mystic is doing. He's trying to push this wave to bounce. And then we'll see if they move him mid lane or move him to the top side. Last time it was top because he was the Caitlyn. They could possibly move him mid because he's the Ashe. He can throw the arrow from Fog of War, whereas obviously Caitlyn can't.
Just keep trying to get those advantages. So to clarify again, that was WE who got the first turret gold in that. Typically, you can tell the order by which one is on the bottom. New kills and turrets are stacked on top. So with that advantage, it appears that Mystic is actually heading back down towards the bottom as he finishes off the Runeans and adds a Vamp Scepter now.
I mean, he had free gold pushed into him just because Shubin was like trying to set up the trap for Ashe. So while I'm there, I'm going to eat this gold, try to get an item, and pick where Mystic is going to go. He is probably assuming that Mystic's heading mid lane. He actually just got vision on the Ashe this moment. And he immediately runs down bottom.
Yeah. Clearing out that minion wave, Xie puts pressure in the mid lane to try to keep Republic occupied as he completes a recall. Abyssal is finished, and a Hex Tech looks like Revolver picked up for Republic.
I actually really like this. So, Mystic not going mid, not choosing to waste your time and throw the arrow at the LeBlanc, who can just distortion out of the way, and instead continues to exploit, and as I say this, he's like, nope, going mid. Could continue to exploit kind of the advantages that they've created on the bottom side and continuously kill Zyra and Caitlyn. But instead they're going to stand in a bush and they're going to throw an ultimate.
Xiaoyu makes it over the wall, and he will successfully steal away the red buff, but Condi will punish him a bit. Xie trading with Republic here. Distort tries to get him back. The arrow actually catches him. Stranglethorns is going to knock up Xie as Mystic continues to chase Republic down, but with the assistance of Scuttlecrab, he walks it off.
But that was a 4v5. If game talents can protect their tower, I'm actually going to say that this is a win for them, simply because Shubin is getting all of this free time and EXP down here, but because they didn't stagger their backs, because they lost too much health, and because a teleport is coming in and Shubin didn't rotate over, it's actually a huge fumble from game talents.
The mid-tier 1 goes down. Shubin actually going to start recalling, seeing that WE are just heading towards the bottom lane. Don't think that's going to spot him. But he makes it out regardless, and Xie will catch these minions here, leaving Mystic in the mid lane. So 2 turrets to 1, still a 2,500 gold lead. WE, very methodical and still patient.
Last standing outer is going to be the top one, however, although they'll probably continue to play around the bottom side of the map until the next Infernal Dragon is picked up. That's kind of the big window where if game talents feel confident, they can maybe try to make a pick before the Dragon, exploit a 4v5 advantage for them. Or they might just wave the white flag and say, this is fine, we're going to give you the Dragon, in return we're going to pick up, you know, a couple of waves of farm on our carries.
Mm-hmm. Something that's desperately needed. 36 CS disadvantage for Shubin as he's trying to catch these minions.
They're about to dive top.
Yeah, they are setting up to try to collapse onto Gimgoon. Fled's still very quick at escaping. And Shie does not have his teleport, so that would be a 4v5. Instead, they are just going to invade, set up a lot of vision, and clean up the final Tier 1 turret of the game. However, 30 seconds for Infernal Drake. Game Talents could try to use this window.
It would be table scraps at this point, though, even if they got the Infernal Drake. And that's assuming that they're able to get it in the time that it takes Team WE to get the tower and mosey back down towards the pit.
Shie eats 3 chains in total and continues to chase onto Republic, who distorts away and flashes because Kassadin has cooldowns and a blue buff. The top Tier 1 goes down.
He's also got a 2-item advantage right now in that the Roa and the Abyssal are completed, whereas only the Abyssal and I think a Hextech Revolver are completed for LeBlanc.
As Condi leaps over the Raptor camp, heading on over towards that Infernal Dragon as Shie continues to harass Xiaoyu, and that is a Kindle gem. Yeah, going for the Gunblade.
Interesting.
Indeed. However, this is Infernal Drake being started. Gimgoon is teleporting. He's got charge.
They're going in. Xiaoyu's got a good flank as well.
Dragon is picked up. Charge is going to find Shie in the front, who leaps over the wall. Soulmate tries to get in as Xiaoyu is being shredded apart by Condi. Meanwhile, Gimgoon is turned onto Ben, who dies along with Mystic, and now Condi and 957 are doing what they can. Skarl runs for the hills, but this is WE trying to turn in there. Shie gets in, shields himself, and will trade 1-for-1. 957 goes down, and Gimgoon is ready. He just needs a few hits, and Gimgoon goes down, and the reset for Condi. He gets the ace.
No, so close for game talents. Best case scenario, they got 2 great flanks here, and this looks like disaster initially. The good thing is that Soulmate actually gets the ultimate off right as Zyra dies. So a lot of key cooldowns were actually used on a champion that pretty much did her job and was done. The flanks come in from Gimgoon as well as Xiaoyu, but the big guy to watch was Shubin until he decides to step a little bit too far forward on the Caitlyn and just gets denied. And then it's just the reset from Condi. The fact that he flashes Gimgoon's auto attack, the triple shot, and then immediately uses next jump on LeBlanc.
Getting that reset, having the presence of mind to be watching Gimgoon as the turret shot is fired while red buff is ticking away to get it immediately. However, WE win the fight, technically, 4-for-5.
Oh no.
Republic, you don't want this. He leaps over, suddenly sees, oh! And gets out of there. Sees 2 people and runs for the hills. WE, however, continue to push forward. Now that some of this vision is being cleared out, the arrow is fired and flashed by Soulmate. Not gonna take any chances.
Big cooldown down for Team WE. They need to fix their mid lane wave.
Gimgoon tries to force a fight as he gets into the front. Republic on the flank. It's 957 doing a lot to soak this. Hook is going to catch Gimgoon as they burn through his health. That's the Stranglethorns to disengage, but Condi has been able to sneak forward. He has the leap ready and is looking for these resets. Tries to go onto Shubin. Gets him low. That's number 1. Manages to land a slow onto Soulmate, but just leaps away instead. WE still have got a lot of health, and Baron is on the map.
And again, this is the other thing. When you have a tank on your composition, even if your health bars get chunked like that, it's still safe to look towards the Baron because you have someone like this, the Nautilus, to be the front man. If this is on game talent's composition, they can't do it.
Yeah. As it is, the Baron is started and finished. 23.5 minutes for WE. And despite not being anywhere near as snowballed as last game, they are still in control of this second game.
It's still been relatively clean, though, and they're still playing the same type of game. So this is not Team WE, exploiting their advantages off of team fights. This is them just playing a really stock standard structure snowball type of game.
They continue to press these structures and neutral objectives with double Infernal and a 1-turret lead. Continuing to put game talents as far back as they possibly can. And, you know, this was the conversation that we set up from the beginning. Game number 1 was a clean demonstration of what we had hoped to expect from WE in a very strong, smashing game. Game number 2, it seems like we're seeing a little bit of a similar vein. Not quite as, like, you're smashed, but, like, they're still playing a tactical macro match.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And unfortunately, kind of the window for game talents to find a lot of counterplay is closing a bit. They're kind of stuck in a power trough while they're waiting for Shubin. So at this point, game talents' win condition has changed from, you know, taking that 5v5 with the last Infernal Drake to, okay, now we just need to stall out long enough, wait for Shubin to hit this third item, and then try the next dragon.
Mm-hmm. The concern is, do they have that much time? WE have got the Baron. They will look to use it.
Their sieging composition isn't strong, but their dive composition is very strong. So it may just be a matter of giving up kind of these outer towers and defending the inhib towers. But Team WA actually kind of lollygagging a bit on, you know, putting all of their resources into one lane and throwing down at these structures.
You saw Mystic waiting just outside of Vision in the mid lane. Luckily, Game Talent's well aware of the Ashe from long range strategy, set up a few wards and had vision of that, so they were sitting nice and safe under their tier 2, not taking any chances in getting caught. 957 has prepped a minion wave in the bottom lane, and WE swing themselves right on down before Game Talents can get there.
I think they've already lost their footing on this one since Team WE had the inside track. You give this one up and you just make sure that they don't crack the inhib line. As long as they can keep that up, I'm going to call this Baron survivable.
They are slowly but surely pressing further and further forward. Plenty of vision now on that bottom side of the map as WE looking now for their next dragon in 40 seconds. That is going to be a Cloud Drake. Still another, looks like about 50 seconds left on that Baron buff. So they have a small window of opportunity if they choose to use it.
And more important, game talents have revealed themselves from their cave
managed
and allowed
to get a kill on the Soulmate.
Yeah, this to happen where they get caught from behind.
Yeah, Knockup is going to find Xiaoyu. Oh boy, welcome to the LPL. I hope you enjoy your stay. Depth Charge and Xie and Kandi.
And that'll be another tower that falls behind.
Ace in the hole onto Ben is canceled.
Blocked?
Xie cancels the channel.
Oh no.
And Kandi jumps in to get the reset. Gimgoon tries to charge away from the enemy team as Kandi did find Republic and Gimgoon. But that is 3 members of Game Talents dead off screen to WE. They are grouped as 4.
And Game Talents, they had a valiant effort. You know, they were turtled up, they had great flanking vision, they were just, you know, giving away the necessary objectives. But get impatient, they step out, you know, whether that be to maybe cheekily check for a Cloud Dragon, maybe they can't help themselves, you know, they've got a new jungler trying to communicate with him, get caught. And it is absolutely devastating. Xiaoyu failed the wall.
Yikes.
Rock in a hard place is what I'm going to call that.
Tragically, Vi cannot, in fact, punch through walls if she does not charge it up enough.
It's not what the lore told me.
Punch first, ask questions later. We actually haven't seen her in combat in the lore. All right, that's neither here nor there. Let's not talk about lore, because that is a deep, deep hole.
But on the bright side, Game Talents, their hero, their savior, Gimgoon, has managed to acquire another tower.
He is 4-1-2 right now. He's actually been doing work.
A big Kled.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if he speeds his team into them, all of them will shatter and die.
Yes, you don't want that.
Again, so Game Talent's win condition was to survive the Baron. It looked great until like the 99% mark to that, and then they lost an inhib. You're like, you know, it's survivable, especially because it's the mid inhib and not the bottom one, so that they at least have an opportunity or a window where they can play around kind of the next Baron contention. But they need Shubin to get some sort of penetration or some sort of kill threat on the front and back line from Team WE.
Yeah, he is just having some difficulty getting anything. He has been denied so much gold, not only in the laning phase, but just around the map. The fact that there's a Kassadin and a Kha'Zix and a Nautilus, if one ward falls and you get flanked, you're in for a bad time.
But we talked about how Game Talent's composition is supposed to work. You know, the fact that you're able to free up and allow Kled, Vi, and LeBlanc to engage because you do have the Caitlyn and the Zyra. That all you really need is Zyra to place the ultimate in front of Kate and dissuade any of Team WE from reaching back there. Unfortunately, Soulmate has been pretty much obliterated at the start of these fights. He did a good job in the last Dragon fight, you know, making sure the ultimate went down before he died, but it's been pretty rough playing the Zyra.
It certainly has. Getting burst down in both games. Checking my notes here, I see that before we started the game, I actually wrote that Game Talents, they have a very demanding bottom lane in this Caitlyn and Zyra. It seems like this bottom lane has not gotten really anything.
I mean, I think, again, if you go back to draft phase, the fact that they prioritize Caitlyn Zyra so early on in their draft, and then unfortunately kind of just lost. You know, if you put all of your chips on getting at least one pushing lane or one winning lane bottom side, and then it just gets countered out because you don't ban correctly in second rotation, it feels bad. Oh no.
Ooh, Republic.
That's
just a little bit too soon.
unlucky.
Leaps away, lands a chain though, and gets under the turret. However, WE, they see that Baron is up in 100 seconds and immediately rush down. Gimgoon looking for the flank is going to find Ben and turns immediately onto Mystic. Exhaust denies the damage as there's a chase now from Xiaoyu as they dive forward. Mystic kites it out as best he can. Somehow is still alive. Ignite dropped by Republic will finally be able to get the one kill, but the rest of Game Talents have fallen just to kill Mystic. And the bot lane, as you mentioned, left standing.
Yeah, and Misfortune serves a very similar purpose to Zyra and Team WE's composition in that she pretty much just dissuades you from reaching into the back line. Opens up the bullet time, and it doesn't seem like much, but she's doing pretty ridiculous damage and a lot of penetration shred with that Black Weaver.
Shubin now trying to help Soulmate keep this inhibitor turret standing. Baron's up in 50 seconds. With Mystic dead, they are going to have a pretty difficult time cracking the inhib against that Zyra and Caitlyn. So, WE decide to back away instead and just be a little bit more patient.
But you can already see what the next attempt was. Wow, Gandhi actually had a control ward, and he's like, nah, screw you guys. Sells it and fills up his item. Or his item slots with armor and MR.
Xie has a Magi's Soul Stealer.
At 30 minutes, that's brave.
It is indeed.
It's fine. I mean, he's a huge Kassadin. He's got 3 completed items as well as the Magi's, and a needlessly large rod. He is by no means in a painful position.
Definitely having a pretty good time. We saw how he was able to assassinate Soulmate in just about one combo. So many assist pings coming out of Game Talents. As they know Baron is coming up, and they know that WE have their eyes on it. The arrow catches Republic despite the distortion. They open up. Make It Rain is doing what they can as Xiaoyu dives onto Mystic into the back. Gimgoon's trying to get in there as well, but Xiaoyu dies as Gimgoon is forced to zone in the front. Guardian Angel pops, and down will go Gimgoon. Xie chases Shubin away. That's a lot of crowd control. Stranglethorns is going to do some damage, but Kandi continues chasing, and it looks like WE killing 4, losing none, bringing the minions right downtown, are set to close this game out. Soulmate dies, and that, Frostgurn, is the ace.
And suddenly that Magi's doesn't look so silly, as it's now healthy and padded on Xie, but just really unlucky for Republic. The fact that the arrow catches him and pretty much been 100-0 him with just the assistance of the hard CC. Well played from Team WE.
Well played indeed. The question was, can they perform? Can they make the statement? Do they deserve to be in this top 5 scramble for the throne? And the answer so far seems to be yes. Now joining us once again on the analyst desk is Zach Rusty Pie. Welcome back.
What up? That was definitely a lot better from Team WE, I will say. The game was significantly quicker, but it also comes down to a decision based off the draft from Game Talents, and I admire them for going the direction that they did when you actually look at the draft phase, and I have my notes literally just says dive. I even wrote in caps, because they had a Vi and a Kled, and Gimgoon played out of his mind as best he possibly could in a losing situation for a champion that's not meant to be good in that situation, so you have to give them some kudos, but if you start losing with that comp, you lose hard.
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing that we talked about before the game actually started was, for Game Talents, they've got the 2 support pillars in Gimgoon and Savoki. Well, in bringing in Soulmate on that Zyra, it seemed like he was actually doing a pretty good job of keeping Chubin safe whenever he got the opportunity to.
Yeah, I think he did a perfectly fine job, of course, getting caught out once or twice needlessly, but that's not to be unexpected again. When we're looking at the team composition, there will be times where you will see them get caught out, but they're simply just trying to utilize their team comp, set up vision for a pick with the dive, so to speak.
With that chase, however, that is going to be WE taking a very clean 2-0, taking a look at the damage Mystic actually did. Not that much this time around, really there just for the utility to enable the rest of his team to set up.
Yeah, but he hit really nice arrows. There's actually a joke where Mystic doesn't hit arrows and he misses a lot, but I think he only split the wickets on one.
You keep using that phrase.
What?
Split the wickets.
She's accustomed to Australia. It's quite good.
Yeah, I know. I've only been here for like a month. To me, it's like field goal. You pass between the 2 posts.
Touchdown. He did it. But the guy that I really want to talk about is Ben. Again, we say this all the time, filling 0 shoes. He comes out on the he's played a slew of champions. Meta-specific champions, like he's not out of meta. Question is, like, if we change back into kind of tanky supports, will he be as effective? But right now, the vision game looks good. He looks like he's communicating well with the team. Looks like he's synergizing well with Mystic. Just beautiful. Looks like an upgrade, actually.
Yeah, I mean, realistically speaking, like if Braum comes back into the meta, I for one welcome Zero back to being on the team. But from what we're seeing right now, he is honestly outstanding. I'm very impressed with Ben. He did 3,000 more damage than his AD carry as a support, and it speaks volumes towards how he's able to use his spell rotations. He was a big part of winning that laning phase, and Mystic seeing this almost unfound levels of lane aggression. He's trying so hard to win lane.
Gosh.
It actually feels a little bit like we're watching Deft and Mako now, like trying their absolute hardest to not just win lane, but create a higher CS difference between the lane opponents. That's how they want to win. It's not always about being at that perfect CS value. It's about ensuring the difference between you and the enemy AD carry is that substantial that it's game over.
Yeah, the fact that they were sitting at like 150, 200 health for just about the entire first 5 or 6 levels, and the junglers didn't come bottom at all. They were just pulled towards the top.
They were busy fighting each other.
Yeah.
They had other things on their mind at the moment.
But again, the other big question was Xiaoyu coming in to replace Wu Shuang. He seemed to have some difficulty performing as well, though he did follow Republic's directions rather well with his diving.
I mean, we saw the damage in Delta Champions. He did 4.2k, the lowest damage in the game, so that kind of speaks. He never really got to do what their composition was set up to do, or be the Vi and dive the backline successfully. And it's not only his fault. The fact is that pretty much every single lane started to lose around mid-game, and so there's not a lot of tools to work with. But that said, he didn't facilitate the best that he could have.
I mean, as far as damage to champions is concerned, Vi is one of the champions that'll do no damage even in wins because she's assassinating you. Like, her R will go on and it knocks you to the side and it kills that one person. That one person is a squishy. So you do like maybe 2,000 damage at most in every single fight if you're fed. If you're not fed, you're pressing R, you're knocking somebody up, you're giving them an uppercut, and then you're dead. And that was literally what he had to do, like, for this dive comp, because Gimgoon was fed, Republic was trying to dive with him, but there was just too much damage coming out of the team comp from WE, so he would actually just die.
Yeah, I feel like we were even seeing WE respond to Gimgoon appropriately by pulling Ben out to catch Gimgoon's ultimate and then immediately exhaust him.
I was just going to say, and it kind of goes back to Ben, not only the fact that he was able to layer the exhaust so well, but that he always had an incredible misfortune ult poised and ready. Like, if Game Talent's composition are just trying to all dive the backline, it pretty much just creates this flying V all through bullet time.
I actually think that, so Zyra was a really good pick by Game Talents, but I think that Misfortune was the perfect pick into Game Talents' team composition because a Kled going in doesn't actually have crowd control because he's going to hit someone in front of Ben, and so there'll be a tank or there'll be someone that gets to safety. And then you've obviously got the other player here of the Vi, right? Yeah. And she's not going to ult you. If she flash Qs you, then she's obviously missed the target that she's looking for. So no one's stopping Ben on Misfortune, and they're running at you. So he'll just make it rain, and then he'll turn around and just start shooting his guns at them. And, like, unimpeded will either zone 3 people away from the 2 that are diving, or he will just kill them.
Yeah, it looks like the MVP this time is going over to Xie. 82% kill participation as he went 9-1-9, a full third of his team's damage overall.
Yeah.
Impressive performance. I mean, the lane was a bit touch and go in the beginning when he traded First Blood and actually did not get the First Blood gold.
I mean, it's the Team WE thing where any of them could have been the MVP. I personally thought that Ben did a phenomenal job, but I mean, you've also got Condi there who didn't die for the entire game, and Shie who's going off on the Cassid and picking up all these triple kills.
Yeah, he was making individual plays. So again, I think this one is one of the more deserving MVPs from what we have seen today. I'm happy to agree with this one.
Yeah. Whereas previously, we'll see. Okay, so then to talk about WE moving forward, they're playing against Vici Gaming on Saturday. Again, they were able to succeed, and finally now they find themselves at 2-2, tied for second place with Avicii and Newbie. What do they do to demonstrate that they still deserve to be in these top 5 scramble for the throne?
Well, they pretty much just did it, because if you're going to beat Vici, that's how you do it. Vici and Team WE play very similar styles. Like, buckle up, everyone. I hope you're ready for either like a 30-minute game or a 55-minute game. That's pretty much the two windows that you're working with, because they're very patient, very methodical, macro-oriented teams. So I think that this was just kind of a warm-up for Team WE.
Yeah, definitely. And even coming into this series, we were kind of highlighting the possibilities before we got into today that, you know, maybe WE were just preparing for Vici and they didn't give any consideration to game talents. And, you know, that wasn't exactly evidence there. I think their drafts were sound. They played a really strong just 5-man game of League of Legends. And so coming into the Vici set, I do have some confidence for WE moving forward.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, you know, League of Legends, stock standard, basic, just kind of going back to square one and reminding themselves they can just play the game at a fundamental level.
I feel like that's a question that not a lot of people ask often enough. How do we win the game? Destroy the Nexus. How do we do that? Destroy turrets, not kill people.
And how are we not doing it for the 2 weeks beforehand where we're suddenly losing our leads by throwing at neutral objectives? And the answer could also be as simple as getting a teleport on my mid laner, because Shie historically always needs to have his teleport when he's playing Diana at a random IEM. Like, he needs to be an assassin with teleport. That's how WE win. And so they can give him Cassidon. He can go to a side lane and kill the LeBlanc. And like, WE found entries into this particular game, and they might continue to see that as they go in the LPL by opening up their strategies, not limiting themselves to a Baron power play.
Yeah. Again, they are the Elder Dragon team, so they do have that as an option if they so choose to wait for the 35-minute mark. But again, it's the LPL. You're going to get some 50-50 fights either way.
And just to clarify as well, the Elder Dragon team just means they turn on at 35 minutes.
Of course, yeah.
They don't like the Elder Dragon. They're almost like the anti-Elder Dragon team, because they lose at the actual Dragon pit. But at that time in the game, they do turn on.
Wait for it to spawn and then try to take a fight or something. I don't know. We'll definitely keep an eye on their progress. Of course, their opponents on the other side, Game Talents, they're playing against Newbie. And after Newbie's win today over Chao Gu, it seems like Game Talents are in a bit of a pickle in this matchup.
Yeah, right now our scramble for the throne has kind of turned into a rock, paper, scissors tournament, and that there's no definitive best. You know, like WE, they beat Newbie, but Newbie beats Chao Gu beat EDG. Like, we don't really know where it is. And Vici's like, hey, we're still in this race. Game Talents, at some point you're going to tap out, and it's kind of about whose day can you ruin and what can you learn and how far can you grow. We've seen this in the LPL repeatedly, that just because teams look like they're destined for, you know, the promotion tournament, although it's very early to call at this point still, that they won't give up on their roster, that they'll retain their members, that they'll continue to invest in the future and developing talent. We can see that, you know, they're bringing in Soulmate, they're bringing in Shubin, so
and that's the important thing to me as well.
Bright spots there.
They, at the very least, can make the best roster that they can as they move forwards. If they keep losing, so be it. But once they work out their recipe for success, like, how can we beat these teams in the toughest group that we've found ourselves in? Just happened upon it. Like, how can we actually win?
Yeah, here's the current standings for the group. You can see Group B, the games we played today. Chao Gu still tied for first with EDG, but hot on their heels are Vici, WE, and Newbie, all at 2-2, and Game Talents still at 0-4.
Yeah, unfortunately, Game Talents is looking across at Group A, waiting for cross-conference to prove that they're just in the heart of group, that given the opportunity, they could make it happen.
I mean, with how chaotic things are going in Group A, if ever there was a time to get some wins, that would be it.
LGD, OMG versus Game Talents, even IMA versus Game Talents, that's all very interesting matchups.
Look, Snake are inconsistent at the moment. IG have strong points and weak points. RNG, you just never know what's going to show up on Summoner's Rift with them as well. So, like, there is opportunities for Game Talents to get wins against all of the opponents in the opposing group. It's about how how much of the Group A shows up.
You know, it's interesting, kind of like the different metas that have been created between the two different groups. So you have one group, Group B, which is a little bit more oriented on macro. You've got EDG, you have Vici, you have Team WE, and even QG to an extent, all in the same group. Whereas the other group have Snake, LGD, IG. They're like the wild card group.
Sporadic, I guess, is the...
Yes.
You just never know what you're going to get.
Exactly.
They're a box of chocolates.
Exactly. Or a car full of clowns, as we
If you
discussed
wanna go
earlier
there,
at the top
yeah.
of the day. Again, if you want to know what exactly we are talking about, check out the top of the show where we explain what the story for this week is. In Group B, it is the Scramble for the Throne, and Group A, a little bit more sporadic. We're going to go ahead and wrap up today. So on behalf of myself, my co-casters, my co-analysts, and the whole broadcast production crew, thanks for watching. Be sure to come back tomorrow for more LPL action. Thanks.